Dave Jansen, Sentry Pac Pro. Today we're going to talk a little bit about how to program your pack, how to go through the steps of programming it and why, as well as just some of the options that the pack has that you may not know about. So the Sentry Pac Pro is capable of running one or two programs, which is basically one or two commodities. Standard operation is a single commodity. It'll run 4 relays to start your fans. The dual program pack will run 2 commodities and run all 8 relays in that fashion. So you'll have 4 for program A and 4 for program B. Today we're going to just go over how to program A and program B. We'll go over pack settings, options, and what you need to do in each of those settings. So getting started with your pack, when you get it, you plug it in. We've got it plugged into the sensor cable. The sensor cable needs to be plugged in before you power up the pack. This way the pack knows that it has something to read, because everything is based off of the temperature humidity sensor that we have here. If it doesn't get a reading, the pack will not initialize because it doesn't know. It says I can't run because I don't have any good data. So yes, when you start the pack up, you need to make sure that you have the Sentry Pac plugged into the sensor, and the sensor will give you a reading. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but underneath here, it'll give you, every minute it gives a reading and it tells you what it's sensing and that it's transmitting that data. So you can look at your sensor up through the screen for the natural airflow and see that it's operating. So going on to program A, what you're going to do coming up to the pack, it's on your bin, everything's working here. We're going to push program A, and it actually brings up a menu, and you can scroll through that menu and see what your settings currently are. And so as we scroll through that, you can see all of the settings that we're going to go through in here are here. And right now, for example, we're in program A. We've got yellow corn set. Our target moisture is 14.9%. Our EMC calculation is 8.01%. So that's what our actual EMC value is. And obviously we're well below the TMC, so we're not going to be running. Target temperature is 60 degrees. Our default when you start the pack is going to be 52 degrees. So when the pack first starts, it's going to say, I want to be at 52 degrees, and then it's going to start gathering its 21 days of data to start running your average temps. So the sooner you plug this thing in before harvest, the sooner you have it running before you actually get into a condition where you need to run the pack, the better off you are. And we always say, and we've said this with the legacy pack, leave it running year round, it'll give you the best data. So going back to program A, and target temp is 60. Our runtime right now is 111 hours. When you put a new pack on, it's going to say 0 hours. It'll say that for probably 24 hours before you get any runtime. It does time out and go back to the main menu if you are not pushing any buttons. So runtime, drying, which is our mode. We have storage 1, storage 2, storage 3, drying, and rewetting. Those are our modes. You're going to select those. Airflow is that budgeted runtime. We have it set at the default of 4 hours in 24 hours. Backlog, this is one of the keys to the pack. If your backlog is 0, which this one is, it will not run on automatic. It has to have backlog in order for it to run. We'll get into that later on as we go through. Let's see where we're at here. Fall cool down is a setting to cool the grain down. It's its own program, but it's within program A. It's not one of the programs in the options or one of the modes. It is its own program in there. If you want to cool down your grain at the end of harvest, or we've got a cold front coming in, if you want to get ahead of that without moving a big front through the bin, you'll set it to fall cool down. There's a detailed description in the manual about fall cool down. So programming the pack, we're going to go to program A. We're going to select our grain, and then we're going to scroll through the grains. We're going to go to corn, because most everybody's a corn farmer. Press enter. Then you're going to go to moisture. We're going to select the moisture content that we want to deliver that grain at. Remember, it's about delivering it. This is where we want to keep it. So 15 moisture. Airflow, our default is 4 hours. If you have a lot of CFM, we're going to run those numbers down to 3 or 2, sometimes even 1. Some guys are going to be up in the 6s to get it to run enough. So it depends on the CFM of your bins to operate that airflow. And then we're going to go into mode. And mode, we're going to leave it at storage 1, although we have storage 2, 3, and re-wet and drying. So drying mode obviously is to dry it. Re-wet, we do a lot of that with soybeans. Re-wet's a great option. It does a great job. We can add a lot of value to your bean crop if we re-wet it. So that is program A, and then when you're all done getting these 4 in, you're going to push auto run. You're going to select on and hit enter, and now your pack's going to run automatically to get your corn to 15 moisture, and it'll do all the math on everything inside. So same process for program B. Press your program B, run through your grain, moisture and airflow in mode, select auto run, you're good to go. So that's the basic operation of the Sentry Pac Pro. Now when we get into the other things, pack settings, options, and manual on and off. Manual on and off is exactly what it says. Push the manual on, you're going to have to go to program A, push manual. It takes you to the manual run page. You can select on or off, and obviously it does exactly what it's going to say there. Now it's going to take 28 seconds for this screen to clear out. Even though we were off, it's going to power off those relays as a safety. So we have a few seconds here for it to run through. Great time for me to tell you, read your manual. It's got good information in it. Happy to help in any way we can, but a lot of the questions people have are going to be in our manual, and you can go through that. If you do have questions after that, don't be afraid to call us, email us, whatever you need to do to get a hold of us. We're here to help. So pack settings. So the pack settings button is like a master switch. It controls the entire pack. So if you push the pack settings button, it gives you these things: about, date, time, temperature unit, and cycle power, which is a soft reset, and then there's a factory reset. If you hit the factory reset, there's a good chance and it will take you back to a single program pack, because that is the default. So we only run a factory reset if we've got a major issue with the pack, and then exit to get out of there. Cycle power is if we want to do a reset of the pack. It's a computer. We've all had computers. Sometimes you got to cycle the power. So that's what that's in there for. When you hit the pack settings and you hit the about and enter, it brings up the serial number of the pack, it brings up our firmware version, and it brings up our number of programs. And so you know exactly what you've got without having to pull the cover off. If you're familiar with the legacy pack, to know what chassis ID you had to pull the cover off, and you had to find the number at the bottom of the chassis. This way, it's all here in front of you. If you're on the phone with one of us or you're talking to your dealer, you can tell them exactly which one they've got if they don't have that in front of them. So going on to options. Options tab, we're going to have to be within the program to run the options. So options is not master, it's controlled by program A or program B. Push program A, hit your options key. It's going to give you backlog hours, so we can look and see how many backlog hours are in that pack. It's going to give you the history, 10 days of runtime, and where that backlog is going up and down. We can reset the backlog. Pushing reset on the backlog takes you to the 15 hours of backlog. So we never go to 0. We always are going to have a minimum of 15 hours on the reset. That way the pack will operate in auto run. Fall cooldown is in here also, and 10-day runtime. So you can look back over the last 10 days and see how many hours the pack has run. Gives you the history, and we can reset the runtime to 0. Resetting runtime is something you would do if you wanted to if you're switching from drying to storage, or you're going from storage to re-wet or something like that, you can zero out that runtime so you can see how many hours you're putting in on re-wetting, drying, or storage. So it's always a good idea. We do not do that automatically. It's something you have to come in and do. We think it's good if you have control over the things you want to operate. So going back into the options tab, target average temp is what our default is 52. It will, over 21 days, gather its own target average temp. If you want to set in something different, this is where you do that. You select that and go to what you want to have for a target temp, and that's as easy as just going into target temperature and changing that temperature. Then it will shoot for that to be its temp. That's going to change your EMC calculations. That's going to change your run times. That's going to change a lot of things. Every time you make a change in this thing, it changes the math that it's doing. So that is target temperature. Temperature upper limit is just that. It'll only run to a maximum upper temperature. Its default is 117 degrees. I don't suggest you store any grain at 117 degrees, but if you want to keep that off so that you're moving corn into the summer months and you don't want it to get above, say, 62 degrees, you'll set in that upper temp limit so that it can't run above that, because over 21 and 42 days during the summer, we would have a target average temp that could be in the 70s. We don't want to store grain there, so we definitely want to move that upper limit to the lower option of 62, so it can't run above that. Keep going through here. Temp lower limit, same thing. If you don't want to have your corn frozen, lower limit is 0. I like to see a lower limit of like 35 degrees, and that way if you have ice or snow on your fan blades, it has a chance for it to soften and loosen up and slough off when those fans start, rather than throwing a fan blade out of balance, taking out a motor. Relative humidity upper limit gives you an upper limit that it'll run on the humidity. Same thing on the lower side. So if you really want to get specific with this thing, you can run it in between these two limits, and the pack will not run if you put those limits in. Target temp upper limit, target temp lower limit. So our defaults are 60 on the upper and 20 on the lower, and you can change those to narrow that band up if you need to for a specific reason. And that's it on the options tab. We have the back button so you can get out of there and go through. The pack is set to scroll through program A, program B. It's going to give you temperature and humidity. It gives you our website and phone number, as well as if you push program A, it will, and then scroll, you'll be able to go through and see all of your information and your settings here on the pack itself. So that is the operation of the Sentry Pac Pro. Basic operation. There's lots of things you can do if you start looking through your manual in drying and harvest heat and just getting your settings right. Some of that has to do with CFM, and we encourage you to read the manual, but also give us a call if you have any questions.